Hello! So today I'm going to be talking about ILLUMINAE by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. I actually read this book back in June, I believe, so I immediately, after I finished it, was very angry at myself for being such an idiot because I wouldn't be able to really review and discuss it until September, October. When did it come out? I ended up pre-filming a discussion. It didn't look good, it did not go well. So I'm just going to be filming a spoiler-free review of ILLUMINAE just because it deserves it and it's so good and I love it so much. It's actually also a very big book, but I'm going to try to hold it up here the whole time. So ILLUMINAE is basically a science fiction novel about a planet that is very far off the radar, and it's like a small, little, actually illegal mining planet. One day on this planet, the two main characters break up. Like, they were in a relationship and now they're not. And so happens on that same day, a different mining company, a very large one, comes and basically slaughters the whole planet. Except that 3 escape ships make it onto the planet and they get to save a bunch of people. Not a bunch of people, but they get to save some of the people spread out between these 3 ships. However, because this is a very off-the-radar, small, illegal mining planet, there's no wormholes to get back to the big, busy planets, whatever, because that's how you travel through space, through wormholes. After the mining company that came to destroy the planet finds out that there are escaped ships with witnesses of what they did on them, they are then chasing the ships, hoping to catch them before they get to the wormhole and they can tell everyone what happened. So we're basically following the story of these people on these ships trying to get to the wormhole. And while all this is going on, plague basically outbreaks on one of the ships, turning people into these weird mutant killing machines. I don't really remember how to describe it. We mainly follow Katie and what is the other guy's name? Ezra. We mainly follow Katie and Ezra, the 2 people that broke up on that first day, and it is just so great. If you haven't heard, the main thing about this book that makes it so interesting is that it is not at all written like a normal book. The whole thing is written in hacked transcripts and emails and IMs and journal entries. So the main time we really get the, the narration of someone doing something is in a sensory report, or when someone is watching a video surveillance and saying what's happening. So even though it's a really different way to explore a story, and I was worried that I wouldn't get into it this way because you're constantly just reading these emails and these transcripts and these IMs and all this stuff. I thought, I'm not going to get into this, I'm not going to get to know the characters. But you do, and you get to know them in such a different way, and it's so interesting, but it's so great. I've never gotten to know a character like this, but only through like emails and IMs and all this stuff. This book is so heart-pounding and page-turning and absolutely insane. I'm not spoiling anything, but just to captivate you, I want to show you one of the pages and how it's written. This one page, yeah. There are times that you look inside a computer's mind, what the computer's thinking, because it's all data and stuff, it's all written down. You see that, and that has to be one of the most interesting things I've ever read, is reading through the mind of a computer. It is so insane. Not to mention, I think one of the best parts about this is that it is so dark and it is scary at points. I have to admit, it was just like, whoa. It's funny. There are funny parts in this book, especially in the IMs, and especially with Ezra and his one friend who I can't remember the name of. The conversations people have can be so funny, and I think it makes a dark book so much brighter when you have some humor in it. One of my favorite parts about this book is that because they're all just random hacked files, they're all, what does it say in the beginning? It explains it in the beginning. Basically, because these are all hacked files and everything, I don't remember why they did this. I don't remember why. It says in the beginning. They blacked out all the curse words, so you kind of have to figure out what the curse words are for yourself. And it makes it, again, like the humor, just so much more interesting to read. There were times when I was like, what could that be? And then there are other times that, like, without even thinking about it, I would insert the word in the sentence. You can just see these black boxes. What was that? That's all it is. It's funny. It makes it more interesting. It makes it funnier than you would think, because there's some pretty creative ones in there where you can basically insert whatever you want. It's a wild ride. This whole book is just intense situation after intense situation after intense situation. I have to admit though, it's not an easy read. It's something that you really have to pay attention to what you're reading. You can't really drift off. But again, it's not a book you would drift off with. Like, I'm the kind of person where I get very distracted by my surroundings when I'm reading. This book I never did, because there's always so much going on. There's so much to pay attention to that I never lost interest in it. But because it has all these weird hacked files, you have to pay attention to timestamps and dates and places where it says it takes place. I don't know. You're piecing together the puzzle that the characters are piecing together, but you feel like you are the characters almost, because you are piecing together all these things from like I keep saying hacked files. You keep piecing together all of these things from all of these weird files, and it feels like you're in the book trying to solve the things that they are solving, and it makes it so much more fun. So I can't wait to read the next book, but I have a very long time to wait, and that makes me so sad. The end of this book was, I think, one of the most intense endings I've ever read. I cannot even explain to you just the magnitude of, I could not read or flip the pages fast enough. I'm not a big sci-fi person myself. I don't really like space and all that. I tend to have existential crises whenever I think about the universe and how big it is, and it scares me. I don't like that. So I'm very hesitant whenever I read sci-fi spacey books. But I knew Amie Kaufman wrote this, and I love These Broken Stars, which is also sci-fi spacey kind of stuff. And I loved it. I loved it because even though it's space, it's a whole different kind of space. Either way, I highly, highly suggest you read ILLUMINAE. First of all, gorgeous. I don't know if they changed the cover at all, because this is just an arc. I don't think they would. I mean, this is a pretty detailed arc. But it's also one of the most interactive and interesting reads I've ever read, and that's a plane. Oh my god, so much is happening right now. I will continue to keep suggesting this to people who are new to sci-fi, kind of like myself, kind of not like myself, just because it is such a book to get you hooked on it, because it's so good. However, when I finished it, I couldn't go to sleep. I didn't go to sleep till the sun started to come up, because obviously I finished it in the middle of the night. This book made me afraid of the dark at the end. You gotta read it. It does take a little while to read though, just because there's a lot to figure out, and it's like 1,000 pages. Just kidding. It's like 500 pages. The love that's in this, the shipping, your OTP, whatever. It's great. It's great. So go read ILLUMINAE and tell me what you think, because I want to talk about it, but I have no one to talk about it with. But it's really good. I really like it. And if I had a complaint, I can't remember it because I read it in June. So this is top-notch A+ review. Okay, bye!